Yeah, and there is Eric Trump playing wide right on the show. Eric, great to see you.
Good to see you guys. Great to be here.
So I'm sure your father is preparing to go out to Iowa and spend the next 6 days there. Coming up on Thursday night, Fox News Channel will be the Fox News Channel and Google debate.
That's right.
There have been some stories out there that your dad might not show up. Is he going to show up?
Oh, I guess we'll see. Listen, I think ultimately he will. I think he's a little bit upset that somebody who came out and tried to take him out of the race in the first debate is, kind of sitting in one of the seats. But
what are you talking about?
Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, of course. So, and I think he might find that a little bit unfair, and, that kind of disqualifies somebody. But, listen, I think ultimately he'll be there.
Eric, I have to say, I just disagree with you. I thought the first question was blunt. It was to the point. I don't think he was looking to take her out. I thought it was an opportunity for your dad to knock out all his critics right away.
And by the way, it was one of his greatest moments. I mean, I really mean that. It was actually one of his greatest moments of that first debate. It was really fantastic. I mean, he turned it into something really special.
Right.
So he's going to be there, most probably.
Most probably.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about, there was wasn't exactly a debate last night. It was this thing where the Democrats one at a time sat in a chair, and they were asked questions by the moderator and also by different people. Your father came up in one of Hillary Clinton's answers. Listen to this, and then we're going to get your reaction.
One of the most distressing aspects of this campaign has been the language of Republican candidates, particularly their frontrunner, that insults, demeans, denigrates different people. He has cast a wide net. He started with Mexicans. He's currently on Muslims. But I found it particularly harmful the way that he has talked about Muslims, American Muslims and Muslims around the world. And I've called him out continuously about that.
Your reactions.
Well, listen, it's kind of ironic giving her email scandal, the fact that she lies to the public day in, day out. I mean, I think you guys do a better job than anybody ever, at covering that. But, Benghazi and the mess that's there. But my father's speaking to real issues that this country has, and he doesn't sugarcoat it, right? I mean, that's what makes him so special. He's not that PC candidate. If there is a problem at the border and illegal immigrants are coming in and they're flocking across the border, he will call it out. He'll say that if we have a problem because we have fundamental extremists that are trying to come into this country and run planes into buildings, he's the type of guy who will speak to that. And he's not afraid to, he's not afraid. And, quite frankly, he's self-funding his campaign. He's not, needing, all the support that she has from Wall Street and everybody else. I mean, that's what makes Trump so special. That makes him the guy that he is, the fact that he's willing to say what's on his mind. And quite frankly, you see his polls. I mean, he's 25% above everybody else who's running next to him, but, nationwide.
But Eric,
people like the message.
Well, that's true on the Republican side, but head-to-head, he still is losing to most polls to Hillary. How do you explain that?
There's been a lot of Fox polls where he's actually winning to Hillary, and, quite frankly, he hasn't even started on her. I mean, he hasn't focused his attention on her, and I think when he does, and I think once they're next to each other on the debate stage, I think everything will come out, and, listen, he will beat Hillary. Make no mistake about it, he will beat Hillary.
Before we get to a general election, obviously, you have to get through the primary first. And so let's take a look at some of those polls, the new polls, brand new Fox News polls for Iowa. And you mentioned him tapping into that anger. Many are attributing his rise in just the last 2 weeks, 11 points. He was at 23%, now at 34%. But this poll was taken before the National Review's Against Trump issue came out and a couple other events. But one of their biggest criticisms is that your father is not conservative enough. Is he?
He's an incredibly conservative man. I mean, look at his positions on so many things. Look at his position on the Second Amendment. Look at his position on so many things. And, it's kind of ironic to watch that debate last night where they talk about, how he would be as a president. I mean, look at this country right now. We've got $19 trillion worth of debt, right? Our educational systems are in total shambles. Our military is in total shambles. We're losing on trade. I mean, look at what the last 8 years has gotten us. And quite frankly, Hillary's been in that camp for such a long time. I mean, look at what it's gotten us. Look at where our country is now. And, it's just so disingenuous. I think, as a son, it makes me want to jump through the TV during those debates and,
well,
it's just very
Glenn Beck was on last night, and he said, well, I'm worried Donald Trump's going to destroy the Constitution.
I think the exact opposite. I think he'll be a great constitutionalist. I think he wants to defend the Constitution. I think he's, back to the Second Amendment. Who else has been better coming out and saying, listen, we've got to preserve our, our Constitution. Stop using executive orders every 3 seconds because you can't pass things through the House and through Congress.
Eric, when you look at this new Fox News poll with Iowa Republican likely caucus goers, and it's up 11, he's up 11% over the last couple of weeks. How much of that is Sarah Palin?
Listen, I mean, I think it helps, right? A lot of people like Sarah Palin. I mean, that's a major endorsement. That's an endorsement that Cruz wishes he would have gotten. We've had so many others. We've had the Duck Commander guys, and literally we have a million guys who want to come out and support him because they see him winning, and because they just like his general message. I mean, he's a great guy. But
right. Ted Cruz's numbers have gone down 4 points. Why do you think that is?
Listen, I think he's come across in certain interviews that he's done as a little bit smug, as a little bit tough. I think people are realizing some of the flip-flop issues in terms of the border, right? I mean, there's a lot of things that are starting to come out, and I think the message of "Make America Great Again" is really resonating in Iowa and certainly among the country. I mean, if you look at our polls nationwide, not just the poll from Iowa where we're 11 points ahead, if you look at the polls nationwide, he's really doing unbelievably well. I mean, he's doing so well, and I'm so proud of him as a son.
He seems to know what he's doing. Could it be because he stayed in the Holiday Inn Express last night?
Yeah, probably.
Is that
right?
true?
The extra sleep at the Holiday Inn Express. That's
in
the
Iowa,
key to the
he
presidency.
stayed in the Holiday Inn Express?
Yeah,
that one right there.
You know, my father's an all-American guy. Believe me, that's not below him. I mean, there's no one who'd rather grab a cheeseburger and have just a comfortable bed than him. And listen, he works so hard. He'll be the last person in that hotel at night and the first person to leave in the morning. I mean, he's a workaholic. He's going to work this campaign harder than anybody else. And you see that at the debates. He's the last, you know, he's the first person there. He's the last person to leave. And, you know, that's what makes him special.
Do you think on the way out of the Holiday Inn Express in Iowa on Friday night, he probably said to the desk clerk, listen, I had a great night, but I would do this to improve your service?
Yeah, we like the hotel industry. It's treated us very well. So
you know, always trying to improve it. Hopefully, you enjoyed some scrambled eggs too with the free breakfast they get so often.
Breakfast and coffee.
Tell us a few things about your dad that we don't know. You say he raised you with no silver spoon in your mouth.
Listen, he's an amazing guy. He's absolutely amazing guy. He's my best friend, and you know, I'll never forget. I mean, it's a great little story. I'd always leave for school, you know, 6 years old, you know, kids, no drinking, no drinking, no smoking, no drugs, no drinking, no smoking,
tattoos.
No tattoos. And, you know, he always just had very high expectations for us, right? I mean, he always had, you know, and we weren't going to let him down. We just weren't allowed to let him down. You know, he just had great expectations for us. And he made sure we went to, you know, the best schools, but he didn't spoil us. He made us work, right? Wow. We were on construction sites at a very young age, and he's an amazing parent. He's an amazing dad.
And we've had a chance to meet you on and off television before your dad was even thinking about running, perhaps. And I have to say, his greatest feat, despite his buildings, it has to be you guys and your sisters. Real quick. I read that if your dad looked at you in the audience and said, listen, if I become president, the guys, my kids, you guys got the business. Have you already felt as though you're filling the gap for him? In which way are you guys filling the gap for the CEO who's on the road running for president?
Well, listen, we've been the company for 10 years. We're building the best hotels all around the world. I mean, we're really doing a great job.
But he's not there every day anymore, right?
No, that's right. And he has immense trust in us, in Don, Ivanka, and I, and we're doing a great job. And we've worked on this, you know, alongside of him, and he's built an unbelievable foundation, which is ultimately his company. And, you know, we're going to keep it going, and we're going to continue to do great things. And, you know, he'll certainly still be a guiding force. But, you know, it's he wants to dedicate 100% of his time to the presidency. But do you check with him on everything? Hey, Dad, I'm thinking about buying Madison Square Garden. Get back to me. No, and honestly, he gives us a tremendous amount of anonymity. I mean, he really trusts us. He trusts our judgment, and he really lets us, you know, do our thing. And you know, he's putting so much of his time into the presidency. He wants to win this. I think he is going to win it. The polls show he's going to win it. He really cares about this. I mean, he's built an unbelievable company. He sees the country that gave him so much opportunity totally falling apart. He wants to go fix it, and there would be no one better in the world at doing that than him.
Eric, thank you very much. I know you're going to be to Iowa and New Hampshire about 1 million times between now and...
We're going to have some fun in Iowa over the next couple of days. So.
Next text Thursday, and then we'll see you Monday.
We will see you Monday.